What if I told you that Mahal Kita does not really mean I love you? Wait lang, does that mean that we've been saying this wrong this whole time? Well, not exactly. Kasi, love in the Philippines, in the many languages and diverse indigenous cultures of our islands, love is far more complex than just simply translating the word love directly. In fact, in some of our languages, they don't even use the word love at all to express love. Because for our people, for our diverse cultures, and for our ancestors, love is vibrant, love is layered and deeply meaningful. Mabuhay! Or in Kapampangan, luwid kayo. Welcome to my channel, it's me Kirby Araullo, your Filipino historian. In today's video, we're diving deep into the many ways to say I love you in the many languages of the Philippines. So first, we'll begin with Tagalog, the most widely understood language in the Philippines today, especially in the government, education, and the media. So, does Mahal Kita in Tagalog really mean I love you? Or does it have a much deeper significance? Today in Tagalog, most people say Mahal Kita to express love. And since the national language, Filipino, is actually based on Tagalog, Mahal Kita has become the most widely recognized way to say I love you in the Philippines and even across the diaspora. But Mahal does not just mean love, it also means valuable, precious, or even expensive. And here's the thing, it actually still carries that original meaning today. And that is why in Tagalog we say Mahal na Hari, Your Majesty, literally precious king, Mahal na Araw, Holy Week, literally sacred or precious days, and Mahal na Bilihin, expensive goods or valuable items. And this shows that Filipino love is deeply tied to value and appreciation. I mean, just think about it. If Mahal na Bilihin means expensive groceries or expensive goods, then clearly Mahal is not really about love, but about value. So when we actually say Mahal Kita, we're not really saying I love you. What we're really saying is that I treasure you. You're a precious treasure to me, which for me feels so much deeper than just simply saying I love you. But in case you didn't know, Mahal is not the only Tagalog word for love. Another word for love in Tagalog is Ibig, which means desire, wish, or longing. And that is why in older Tagalog phrases they use Iniibig kita, I deeply love you, or I long for you. But unlike Mahal, which emphasizes value and cherishing, Ibig conveys romantic desire and deeper emotional yearning. Now the word Ibig comes from the Austronesian root word Iber, which referred to a mouth-watering anticipation, a craving so strong it makes your mouth water or drool with saliva. And this meaning is actually still reflected in many other languages in the Philippines and across the islands of Austronesia, where words like Ibog in Kapampangan or Iwol in Tiboli expresses deep longing or intense attraction. And this is why Mahal Kita in Tagalog literally means I cherish you or I hold you dear, while Iniibig kita means I love you deeply, I yearn for you. Now both terms coexisted in Tagalog, but over time, Mahal Kita became the more common way to express love, especially in everyday use, while the deeper Iniibig kita stayed in poetry, songs, and formal writing. But apart from these two, there are even more ways to say I love you in Tagalog. Like for example, from Mahal Kita, you can say Minamahal kita, a continuous active love. I am loving you. Sinisinta kita, a poetic, dramatic way of saying I adore you, which is actually common in traditional songs and music like kundiman and harana. There's also Ginigiliw kita, a charming, endearing way to express fondness. You're literally saying you are dear to me, ginigiliw kita. And while each of these expressions carries its own nuance, they all reflect the depth of how Tagalog speakers express love, whether through treasuring someone, mahal kita, longing for them, iniibig kita, or cherishing them with deep affection, sinisinta kita. Okay, so now that we've explored Tagalog, let's now learn Kapampangan. So most people think that Kaluguran ka is the only way to say I love you in Kapampangan. But in Kapampangan, love is far more complex. It's not that simple. So unlike Mahal Kita in Tagalog, which can be used in almost any situation, Kapampangan has different words for different kinds of love. Okay, for something lighter but still meaningful, we have the word buri, and this word is often the starting point of romantic feelings. So saying burida ka can mean I like you or I am fond of you, just like gusto kita in Tagalog. But buri is not just limited to romance. In fact, Kapampangan children use buri to express affection for friends, parents, or people they admire. And at the same time, buri can also be used to express your preferences, like saying buri kay ni, I like this, or buri kita, I like that. So whether for people or for things, buri conveys a sense of appreciation, fondness, and enjoyment. Now, one of the strongest ways to express desire or passion is ibug. In Kapampangan, if someone says, "Pangay buganda ka," they're not just saying, "I love you." They're saying, "I crave you," or "I deeply desire you." So historically, ibug referred to an intense longing or desire, a craving almost to the point of obsession, which again is similar and related to the original meaning of ibig in Tagalog. But over time, because of colonialism and Christianity, ibug in Kapampangan became more associated with physical attraction or lust, which is why, unlike ibig in Tagalog, which became more poetic, in Kapampangan, "Pangay buganda ka" became something you only whisper in bed or in private. Now, if you want to express something deeper, if you want to express deep adoration, deep admiration, and deep selfless love, then that's when the word sinta comes in. In Kapampangan, if you say "palsintanda ka," you're telling someone, "I adore you." Now, sinta is not unique to Kapampangan or Tagalog. It has cognates in Bahasa Melayu or Bahasa Indonesia and in Bahasa Jawa or Javanese, where the word sinta also means love. But sinta in Kapampangan is not just about romance. Historically, sinta was used to express adoration for one's motherland, culture, and people. And this is why sinta appears in traditional songs and poetry, not just as a term of endearment, but as a word for a love that goes beyond the individual, beyond romance. And actually, even today, Kapampangans use sinta to express pride and deep connection to our roots. Meanwhile, mal means precious, valuable, or treasured, and that is why Holy Week in Kapampangan is called Malyaldo, literally meaning precious or holy days, similar to Mahal na Araw in Tagalog. So in Kapampangan, if you say, "Pakamalanda ka," you're telling someone, "I treasure you." And this phrase is the closest Kapampangan equivalent to Mahal Kita, emphasizing protection and deep care rather than just romantic affection. And so pakamalanda ka is also commonly used between parents, children, and close friends. And this sense of treasuring someone or something goes beyond people. It includes culture and language. And that is why we have a saying, "Masalingal-ngalyang e palak, king lanam ning mebila sangasan, ing taong alang pakamal king amano ng siswan." Or in English, one who does not love or treasure their mother tongue stinks so much worse than the gut-wrenching stench of rotting fish baking under the sun. And finally, in Kapampangan, the most widely used phrase for love is "Kaluguran ka." But unlike Mahal Kita in Tagalog, which focuses on valuing someone, in Kapampangan, "Kaluguran ka" emphasizes mutual affection and deeper emotional connection. So in short, traditionally, you can only use "Kaluguran ka" if the feeling is mutual. Okay, so the root word lugod goes beyond love. It goes beyond romance. It carries a deep sense of compassion, kindness, and care. It describes love not just between partners, but also among family and entire communities. In fact, Kaluguran also means friend in Kapampangan, showing how love and friendship in our culture are deeply connected. Now, saying "Kaluguran ka" in Kapampangan is not just a declaration of love. It implies mutual love and deep affection, a shared connection, because lugod is a two-way kind of love, built on reciprocity and deep bonds. And so in Kapampangan, lugod is not just about romance. It is about cherishing relationships, whether with a partner, your family, or your community. So why does Kapampangan have so many words for love? Because love is not just one thing. Some words express desire, like ibug, while others show fondness, like buri. Some convey adoration, like sinta, and others emphasize protection, like mal. But at the heart of Kapampangan culture, love is lugod, a love based on mutual care and compassion. And this diversity in how we express love reflects the emotional depth of our people, of the Kapampangan language. Because love is not just about what we feel, it is about how we express it, how we show it. Now, both Tagalog and Kapampangan are my mother tongues. That's why I was able to share more about them. But of course, as many of you know, the Philippines is home to over 180 languages. In fact, 186 according to the most recent study. And in each of these languages, love is expressed differently in their own unique ways. So how exactly do people across the Philippines say "I love you"? Let's find out. One of the most widely spoken indigenous languages in Luzon is Ilocano. And in Iloco or Ilocano, you say "Ay ayatan ka" to say "I love you." The root word ayat means love or deep affection, and the verb "ay ayatan" means to love you. Now in Iloco, they also have the expression "dungdungwan ka," which is more often used for family and friends, roughly meaning "I love you and I care for you." Now, to express deeper affection, Iloco speakers often add unay to the phrase, like Agyamanak launay, thank you very much. Or ay ayatan kaunay, which means I love you very much. Similarly, in the neighboring indigenous Ibanag, you say ayatattaka, and in Itawes, you say ayatantaka. And these phrases come from the same Austronesian root word ayat, reinforcing the strong sense of love and affection within these neighboring languages. So in Pangasinan, love is expressed with the phrase inarutaka, which means I love you. The root word aro signifies love, affection, and deep fondness, while taka shows the relationship between the speaker and the person being addressed. Now, inarutaka is also not limited to romance. It is also used to express affection for family and close friends. Now, another common phrase in Pangasinan is pinablita ka, which literally means you are precious to me or valuable to me, with the word bili referring to worth or value, similar to mahal in Tagalog or mal in Kapampangan. Meanwhile, in Bicol, love is expressed in several ways, like namomotanta ka, and this implies deep attachment and admiration. Or padangat taka, a heartfelt way to say I love you, which can also be used both romantically and platonically. And of course, you can also say padaba taka to express tender affection or fondness. These phrases reflect Bikolano culture, where love is often expressed with warmth and sincerity. Now, while the exact root word of padaba is unclear, it is closely linked with the word daba, which means warmth or glowing embers. And this connection beautifully suggests that love in Bikolano culture is something that glows, something that provides comfort and emotional warmth. So now, let's set sail to the Visayas, where love is expressed through ongoing action and continuous care. For example, in Hiligaynon or Ilonggo, you say palangata ka. And palangga does not just, mean love. It is more like saying my dear or my beloved. Palangga is often used between parents and children, between close friends, and between romantic partners. And this gives palangga a sense of warmth and deep affection, making it an endearing expression of love in Hiligaynon. In Cebuano, the phrase gihigugmatika expresses love and affection. The root word gugma means love, care, and deep fondness. The prefix gi marks a completed or ongoing state, while tika indicates that the action comes from me and is directed towards you. This makes the phrase gihigugmatika mean I love you, in a way that emphasizes the action and the direction of love from the speaker to the listener, rather than just the feeling. Now, similarly, in Waray, the phrase hinihigugma kita follows a similar structure. The prefix hini suggests continuity, which can be interpreted as a sign of enduring or deeply felt love. And this means that the phrase hinihigugma kita may be understood as I truly love you or I deeply love you, in the sense that love is ongoing and everlasting. And if you think about it, Visayan languages often describe love as an ongoing commitment, showing us that in Visayan cultures, love is not just a feeling. It is something that you show through action and consistency. So just like in the Visayas, in Mindanao, love is deeply tied to language and culture, but with its own unique variations and unique influences deeply shaped by its history and diverse indigenous cultures. In Maguindanaon, the phrase galinyan ko saka is used romantically to express love and affection. Now, while galinyan ko saka translates to I love you or I like you, Maguindanaon culture often values actions over words, especially when expressing deep emotional commitments. In Maguindanaon culture, love is more commonly demonstrated through loyalty, care, and responsibility, rather than verbal declarations alone. In Bahasasug, spoken not just in the present-day Sulu province but across the historical Sulu Sultanate, you say, malasa ako kay mo, to express love directly to someone. Meanwhile, kalasahan takaw is a more poetic way of describing love and affection, as if talking about it rather than directly expressing it. And this phrase, kalasahan takaw, emphasizes trust, devotion, and deep bonds. But in certain contexts like Valentine's Day, saying, malasa ako kay mo would be more natural and appropriate. Now, apart from the indigenous languages of the Philippines like those we just covered, we also have Chavacano, a Spanish-based Creole spoken in Zamboanga and used to be spoken in Cavite. Now in Chavacano, people say, ama yo contigo or taama yo contigo. Now the word ama comes from the Spanish amar, which means to love. Now grammatically, it's not the same as te amo in Spanish. Nevertheless, unlike some indigenous Philippine languages that express love more indirectly, Chavacano's structure makes it more direct and passionate, just like te amo in Espanol. Now these expressions tell us something important. In Ilocano and Ibanag, love love is expressed through devotion and deep family bonds. In Cebuano and Waray, it is seen as an ongoing action, something to be shown through continuous care. While for the Tausug and Maguindanaon, love is about commitment and loyalty built on trust. Meanwhile, Chavacano, influenced by Espanol, express love more directly and passionately. So rather than a single word for love, many Philippine languages distinguish between different kinds of love and affection, reflecting our people's cultural values. In some, love is demonstrated through action and commitment rather than words. And this diversity reveals how our people experience love, not just as an emotion but as a way of life. We all know that love is a universal thing, but the way we express it, the way we say it, the way we show our love in the Philippines and across the diaspora, these have been shaped by our people's history, centuries of history, cultures, and tradition. Long before colonialism, our ancestors, our people, expressed love through poetry, songs, and meaningful gestures. Okay, so some marriages were arranged to bring families and communities together, even, bringing kingdoms together. But unknown to many of these marriages were actually built on genuine love, romance, and personal choice. In fact, women had the power to accept or reject suitors, and love was seen as both a personal bond and a connection to the greater community. Indeed, unknown to many, our pre-colonial ancestors were also more open-minded about love, gender, and sexuality. Unlike the rigid colonial society shaped by Spanish Catholicism, many of our pre-colonial communities embraced and respected diverse expressions of identity and relationships. In fact, gender roles were often more fluid, and same-sex relationships existed without the stigma that would come under colonial rule. And even before the Spanish-era jarana made serenading popular, our people had long been expressing love through songs and music, just like many other Southeast Asian cultures. And these traditions influence how we express love through the centuries, blending indigenous practices with foreign influences. And today, as both Tagalog and English dominate conversations and pop culture, many indigenous ways of expressing love are at risk of fading. Now, language is more than just words. It also reflects how we experience love. These words are not just phrases. They carry centuries of our people's histories, culture, and heritage. These are expressions of love that are deeply woven into our everyday life and into our identities. So, if you think about it, every time we say them, every time we say any of these phrases, we are not just saying, I love you. We're not just expressing love. We are also keeping the voices of our ancestors alive. And again, the Philippines is home to over 180 languages and diverse indigenous cultures and traditions. So if there's anything that I miss or anything that you want to add from your own cultures and backgrounds, let us know in the comments below. Let us all learn from one another. Like for example, let us know in the comments below, how do you say I love you or express love in your mother tongues? And if you're curious to learn more about how Philippine languages evolve over time, or you're just curious to learn more about our people's histories, cultures, and everything in between, make sure to watch my other videos on this channel. Maraming salamat po, or in Kapampangan, dakal pong salamat kay Kongan, in Ilocano, agyaman naklaunay, and in Bikolano, Diyos mabalos. See you next time, or in Tagalog kita kits in Kapampangan, Mikitix in Binisaya, kita aita, and in Bahasa Sug, balik isab.